Godzilla has been an ever-evolving creature throughout its cinema history, but certain aspects of the world's favorite monster have been a part of the core design since the very beginning. Today we are going to focus on Godzilla's most powerful and iconic ability, his atomic blast. Let's get to it! To understand how this devastating power works, we have to go back to the origins of how Godzilla is even able to generate such power. There have been a few different causes as to how the blast can be generated. Initially, Godzilla was able to breathe atomic energy due to the fact that he was made from the results of an atomic bomb. The energy from the blast mutated Godzilla and gave him this deadly weapon. But other takes of Godzilla describe him as always having the ability to fire this sort of blast. Simply saying, the beast naturally evolved with this capability. Back in the 1950s, the atomic blast, or commonly known as atomic breath, resembled that of a blast of hot steam. Unlike future adaptations, this version of the breath was less violent, but still destructive nonetheless. Remembering that these initial films were in black and white, the original color of the atomic breath was purely white looking. But that changed as Godzilla continued to grow more popular throughout the 60s. While mostly still resembling the original design of the atomic breath, the advancements in color television and film enabled Godzilla's creators to add a bit of flair to the blast finally. While it still looked like a hot vapor, the breath now had a blue tint to its looks. This was the start of the famous Godzilla Blue Atomic Blast that till this day continues to be the usual color choice for the atomic breath. The Godzilla films of the 70s were the first to truly take the design and power of the atomic blast to the next level. While the range and basic designs were very similar, the amount of damage that the blast put out started to become a little bit more devastating. The beam also now started to resemble something much more like blue fire breath. Still having the steam-like flow of air around the breath, but at its core it now resembled that of flames. For some time there was no Godzilla film, but in the 1980s the King of the Monsters returned, and so did his atomic blast. But this time it was much different. Much more kingly. With a heat of over 500,000 degrees Celsius or over 900,000 degrees Fahrenheit, the blast of the Heisei Godzilla was certainly the most deadly that the monster had ever sported. Not wanting to ever limit the G-Man's power, the atomic breath was given upgrades in the form of the spiral heat ray during this era of Godzilla films. This variation of the atomic breath is considered to be much more powerful than the standard blast, and is shown to have an electrical spiral of energy around the beam. This was also quite possibly the most powerful version of the atomic blast that was ever shown, reaching temperatures of over 1 million degrees Celsius or 1,800,000 degrees Fahrenheit. While the movie adaptation of Zilla was shown to not have atomic breath, the cartoon series version of the Zilla certainly did. With a blue-green hue, the breath resembled that of fire more than any other version of the blast to that date, but still packed the punch that we all loved about Godzilla's atomic breath. At the turn of the Millennium, Godzilla's atomic breath was shown to be much more incendiary than before with the film Godzilla 2000. This time, Godzilla's dorsal spines would glow a vibrant orange until the energy was released. Upon impact, this blast would leave a trail of fiery explosions, adding even more destruction than the past adaptations. Godzilla Final Wars brought back the classic blue beam design of the atomic breath, but this did not mean that it was any less powerful. The spiral heat breath also made a return in this adaptation. Whether it was shooting an asteroid out of space with pinpoint accuracy, or sending Kaiser Ghidorah flying out to space, this version of the atomic breath was no joke. After a 10-year wait, Legendary Pictures brought back Godzilla for another non-Japanese film, and with this new version of the monster, also came new atomic breath. Having probably the most epic build-up to his blast of all time, you could see the energy flow up the monster's spines, creating a deep blue glow and an eerie charging up like noise. Once the power was released, it looked more like the original Godzilla breath from the 50s and 60s, resembling steam more than a focused beam. While this blast may have not been as powerful as those shown in the past, it still got the job done. Shin Godzilla is one of the more unique versions of the monster to date, as well as his atomic breath. Unlike previous blasts, this one has multiple of what I like to call build-up levels. Starting off as a thick black smoke coming from his mouth, it would soon turn into a fiery, sweeping beam of energy. But it didn't stop there. At full power, Shin Godzilla's breath would turn into a purple beam that was strong enough to cut buildings in half. The animated Godzilla film Planet of the Monsters showcased two different Godzillas, but with similar atomic breath. While the older Godzillas seemed to have the blast come from within their bodies, these plant Godzillas appeared to have the beam originate from an energy source just outside the creature's mouths. The larger Godzilla, nicknamed Earth, also revealed a brand new weapon, the Super Oscillatory Wave. This attack comes from Godzilla roaring so loudly that anything that comes in the sound wave's direction will literally get crushed. While crippling ships with just the power of sound may sound strange, it isn't necessarily science fiction. Some of us humans have the ability to use our voices to break things like wine glasses, so a being the size of the largest Godzilla ever shown can surely do a lot more damage. We humans have long envisioned giant beasts breathing fire like that of the dragons. If you think about it, Godzilla is the modern-day dragon story. A giant, deadly, and misunderstood creature that uses the energy within to breathe fire, or in this case, atomic energy. If you want to see more history of videos, make sure to give us your idea in the comments down below. I hope you guys liked the video, and if you feel like you want to see more like this, make sure to like and subscribe. Become a resident. Until next time, residents, peace out.